It is the 22nd of September, 2024. It is 8 p.m. UK time. This is part of my journey, show 45. The reason I wanted you to come on the show today, obviously there's lots of great stuff that we'll talk about that you've just been doing. You know, you're a big part of where I'm at on Twitch, where a lot of people are on Twitch, big inspiration and part of all of our journeys. You've been on the show before as well, but let's go right back to the beginning of sort of Twitch. Most people have heard the story that it was Wax Nerds first and you were doing sort of Facebook, and then I think Mojax it was who said Twitch is going to be the one, isn't it?
Yeah, Mojax was spot on there, wasn't he? Fair play to him.
Yeah. I mean, he knew, and especially when we get to it a bit later on the DJ program, to see how far it's come from where it started. What are the big differences? You know, it's been 4 and a bit years, probably you've been on Twitch.
Yeah, it's 4 years now. It's mad. I still have to pinch myself. You know, that whole lockdown thing that someday, like Bobby Ewing, I'm going to wake up and it was all a dream.
Well, it's weird thinking back to it, isn't it? Because, you know, it's what brought us all together in the first place.
Yeah.
A lot of people, you know, different communities on Facebook and obviously Twitch. But it's weird, isn't it, that we were all just locked up together and all we had was each other's streams. Twitchverse for us back then was much smaller to what it seems to be now, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think that's a natural thing that people have found Twitch. And it's kind of grown exponentially by people finding each other. And that old adage of birds of a feather, they really do flock together. And then all of a sudden, you know, there's a big community, like everybody that's in the chat now and everyone that watches shows, and everyone has their favorite DJs now and they tune into specific shows. It was something that needed to happen, but none of us actually knew what it was that needed to happen. And then it just kind of happened.
Yeah, we'll definitely come back because there's been some really cool things that have been happening. Let's talk about 45s, because obviously that's what's brought us all together. Is your love for 45s more now than when you started Twitch, or the same or less?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not prepared for this. I'm not prepared for a good question. There you go, Chris.
There you go.
I gotta skip those in. No, I'd say it's the same. I've loved them all my life. All that Twitch has done is given me a outlet to share that love for stupid little records. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's amazing what has grown out of it. Obviously, Mark Lancaster, we saw him on the show, and he was the one who inspired the uplifting mix with his question, which we ask at the end of most of these
that
shows.
was cool. It was good to see Mark's interview on that thing too, because I got that I haven't seen, because as I've said before, I'm hopeless with that kind of stuff. I don't subject myself to it either, if that makes any sense to anyone, because my mind doesn't go that way. I don't surround myself with it either, which I get for some people it's like super cathartic. It's not how my mind works. My mind works a different way, so I don't jump into that world because I almost don't want to be there, if that makes sense.
And when you came on the show before, you were very much honest and said, well, I haven't really had any mental health issues. And we talked about some of the mental health issues that arose sort of through your stream in terms of like Ad Vodka and the story about that. You know, we don't just talk about bad, you know, we talk about positive mental health. And one of the things I'm going to be asking you, I'll prepare you for this one, is how you sort of maintain sort of positive mental health, because there's a lot going on, isn't there? You know, when we were in lockdown, it was basically streaming and working from home, or not working in your case because of the sort of wedding industry just sort of died. Then you've gone from that to then you're back working, and you've still got to sustain streams, sustain Twitch and all the rest of it. So how do you keep positive mental health when there's quite a lot of demands on your time?
I actually see Twitch as my outlet. That's my release. So to take my stress away from, I mean, not that I particularly stress on most things, but if I've got a lot of events on the weekend, a lot of DJs that I've hired in to do cover things for me so I can be me still, I kind of use Twitch as my escape. I used to do it all the time at home, as I used to make mixtapes. I would spend all day Tuesday night or Wednesday night at home making mixtapes to listen to in the car, because it was a time when I get to spend listening to music that I like. Whereas now I get to go, hi everyone on Twitch, I'm going to play you a load of tunes that I like. It's my release. So I don't think Twitch will ever disappear for me, no matter how it goes with the other things we'll chat about later.
It's very true, isn't it? Because I mean, we talk about it on this show. The actual act of switching on your camera, going live, getting your community, you have to concentrate on so much that it's like sort of music therapy, because it stops whatever else is going on. You can't, you know, it's really difficult if, you know, like, you know, if you've got a kid coming in saying hello or wanting to ask like ZZ pops in or whatever, but because you've got to concentrate on DJing and streaming and the chat and whatever else is going on, it just takes your mind away from everything, doesn't it? It's the perfect escape.
And do you know, just to let everyone in the chat know, Sometimes you get up in the morning and you've got to stream at 2 o'clock because it's part of a raid train and you don't want to do it. Even I get those. Like, you're not in the mood. You're not feeling any music that day. You just want to, have a cup of tea and sit there and be quiet because you've had a mental weekend. And suddenly, boom, back Monday's on the horizon in about 2 hours' time. You're like, oh, and then you don't. You make yourself do it. And then people in the chat, and you really do not understand how powerful you guys in the chat are, can just lift you up to make sure you perform on those days too. So anyone that's in the chat that was like, oh, do I annoy you, the streamer? Do I piss them off? Do I say too much? It's absolutely wrong. The more fun it is in the chat, or the more positive, or the stupid things like tune or I love this record, a DJ will never ever get sick of hearing just one comment that says it's cool, because it absolutely boosts you. So don't ever be afraid in the chat not to go, oh, Sam looks a bit off, today. Maybe he needs that kind of boost up, or Criztoz or ADP. And absolutely, the chat does make a massive difference.
Definitely. Sound matters. Basically what we're saying, isn't it? Streaming forces you to live in the moment. And
yes, Sam Matters has a great outlook on how stuff works. His brain is quite an interesting place to be to reside in.
But it comes back to what Maculate was saying during the show as well, of him doing meditation because he was struggling with focus. You do need to focus. I mean, I don't know about you, maybe you're the same. I sort of hyper focus on something. So I'm like, right, okay, I've got to do this project in terms of this raid train, and then I've got to organize that and then that. So that's how my sort of brain works. Do you find that in terms of preparing for when you've got so many different shows and those different theme streams?
If something really does tick my, ooh, I want to do that box, then I do fixate on it, definitely. If something doesn't quite resonate with me, I find it hard work. I need to watch someone that does that to give me that spark to go, oh, that's a good idea, and then go down that avenue. Like, sometimes someone will mention something for a stream theme or a birthday theme, and they'll be like, Anne Red last week. I was like, oh, your birthday next Wednesday. Do you want me to do it for Soul Train, or do you want me to do it on the Wednesday? Because obviously people have plans on their birthday, they're not going to be on Twitch. She's like, oh, do a classic soul set. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, because it was open, but then it was like, oh, I can play some songs on Soul Train, and it gives me an excuse to play that genre. Yeah. So it's good to get excited about stuff. But yeah, I definitely fixate on certain things. If I'm doing a mixtape, I'm anal. That's why hardly anything I say is going to get released gets released, because I'm just still tweaking it.
Literally, Sam tweaking it.
Yeah.
Mark Lancaster saying, yeah, but when you do the stream, it lifts you. So going back to your point that, sometimes you don't feel like it. Yes, agreed. ADP saying definitely. And then obviously what Lady Mel's is saying is the chat absolutely boosts you. Fade is saying the energy goes both ways.
You can tell sometimes when you've got to put the energy on. I suppose with what I do for a living, I go into a room full of strangers and I've got to make them enjoy themselves. That's what I do for a job. 9 times out of 10, I'm dealing with corporate people, or people that don't know me. I have to impose that you're going to have fun tonight kind of thing on everybody in the room. So it is like an act in some ways, but when it's reciprocated in the chat, like a dance floor, it's mutually beneficial then.
Yeah, and I think it's that energy, isn't it, that you have on your streams that is quite infectious. And then obviously when people meet you in person, you're exactly the same. Like pretty much most streamers, I think because we spent so many hours getting to know each other through the streams, when you do actually meet someone, they are generally how they are on the streams. Have you found that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Most people are as the camera doesn't lie. Like when I look vacant because I'm listening to you, because I can't turn the camera to overhead. So I'm like, because I'm just intently listening to what you're saying so I can remember what to say back.
Yeah.
But that's it doesn't lie. It tells you exactly where you are.
Yeah. We've got a question, actually. It's a very difficult question, I think. As from Rebels, that's Adrian. How has part of my journey improved my life?
How has part of my journey improved your life, Criztoz?
That is a good question to have. I think it's just opened up conversations with people that I may not have had. And also because I'm talking about mental health, which I think is important, people have been open to come to be part of what I'm doing and what we're doing together. Hence putting together all these crazy events, around the world. I think it's because we've been open and honest and not just played music, because we've talked about things and talked about mental health and talked about community. That's, I think, how it's improved my life, because other people have seen what I'm doing and want to be part of it. That's the biggest compliment, that people want to be part of what I'm doing. It's amazing.
Yeah, is it cathartic for you? Does it help you?
Yes, I think so. I think so. I think it's some of the things that people have been through on the shows I can relate to, either personally or through people I know. There's a lot
Yeah.
of stuff that hasn't happened to me yet. I'm still fortunate enough to have, like, my parents. Both my parents are still alive. Claire's parents are both still alive. At some point, obviously, that's going to change.
Yeah.
And I think having heard how other people have dealt with it is going to be a help, but also that I can hopefully reach out to these people and say, right, I'm going through what you went through. They can listen or they can give advice. So it's opening up those options to talk, which I think is important with mental health, because if you don't and you bottle this stuff up, I think that's where things can get quite difficult. So it's been interesting.
Yeah. Cool. It's I'm a tiger in real life, Mark. What's that all about?
Where is he?
But yeah, it's interesting because
Yeah.
I watched all those videos then. That was quite a heavy viewing for me because
Yeah.
my glass is always full. So watch people going through hardship that you don't know about that's a difficult watch. I don't put myself through that, but I understand that people need to because it helps them. I come at this from a completely different angle to most people, and I know I'm lucky like that. It's just the way I'm wired. Yeah, that was there's some heavy shit in there from some people
Yeah.
that I really do love.
Yeah. And it's, I think for me, coming back to, how has it changed? It's been amazing that everyone's been so open and honest. Even just from that very first text that I got from Double P, him sending
Yeah.
me a message from his son to me and Fat Wax saying thank you for helping my dad through his depression because we'd helped him do some streaming, and it was just like, wow, it was just incredible.
Oh, Mr. Musto. Yeah, that's because you were hopeless at refilling it at the bar. Yeah, that's why. Yeah. Double P's a great example because he's such a great guy. He's a good DJ. He's a good streamer. Sometimes he needs a good slap across the face to wake him up. I'm not lying. Am I, Paul? Sometimes you want me to tell you off, so you grab the day by the balls.
It's good that he can reach out now.
Yeah.
That's I think the most important thing. When he talked at the beginning of that show about how close he got to, sort of not being here. And even today when he did his stream, he was saying, if it wasn't for Twitch, if it wasn't for streaming, if it wasn't that, I might not be here. The fact that he can send a message to you, me, Mr. Musto, whoever, and we're all very blunt with him.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and I need to be blunt because I can be quite a straight talk, a bit like
we're just
Josie,
honest
like,
though. It's
I
just
gotta
an
shove a
honest.
plug in it. I mean, what kind of language is that? Jesus. Yeah.
But it's just being able to be honest, isn't it?
Yeah.
And say to him, right, when he's going through a bit of a low patch, or he needs a bit of help, or I'm going to give it up this week and whatever. That's when I said, right, let's do a raid train. Let's give you something to focus on. And exactly like Double P saying, that's what you need sometimes.
Don't come to me when you don't need that, Double P, because I'll be like, I'll be hopeless at the other side of it. You can use the other guys for that. That's where my blind spots are with people. Is
But
when they're in that place, I find it hard to pick them out of it if they don't want the hard talking bit that I will do. That's where I'm personally not good for that kind of correspondent. If you're feeling really down and you don't want to be told off and you're texting me, I'm going to be quite hard to try and wake you out of it, which sometimes you don't need, and then I'm the worst person to speak to. I'm not the answer every time.
People who are going through whatever issues are at different stages of those issues. Sometimes they want hard talking, sometimes they don't. Like you say, sometimes they want to be mollycoddled, or sometimes whatever. It's definitely
and
there.
Then I'm hopeless at the other side of it.
Yeah. Mark Lancaster saying that he chats to people on Twitch more than he does to people face to face, and that's I think the way our society is going a little bit, though, isn't it? Especially after the pandemic. I know we're lucky enough because we're going out and we're doing gigs and things like that. But I don't know. I mean, do you see people on a day-to-day basis as you used to before the pandemic?
No, I'd actually say I was more introverted since the pandemic than I ever was.
Yeah.
I'm happy in my own head, my own skin, but I get my social interaction now by streaming. So I don't need to go out to see people. And actually, if I go and pick up Willow from school, good example, Disco Friday used to be 10 till 12 on a Friday morning. And because of the way Thursday nights go, Stream Raiders, then maybe the Funk Hunters will be on. Then they'd hit me at 10 o'clock in the morning. I'd be on an absolute hype because I'd just been hit with 200 people. I'm smashed through a set for 2 hours. I pissed off the people next door because I'm too loud at 10 a.m. on a Friday morning. I'm going to pick Willow up from school at 3 o'clock, and I'm spent. My energy
Yeah.
is gone. And then people in school are coming over. Hi, what are you doing this? And I'm like, I need a couple of hours to chill out because I'm working tonight. And I'm like, and then I'm like, just leave me alone. But I need that time to like recharge. And it's funny, sometimes I just go my hood up and try and hide myself on the way to school.
You're definitely on, aren't you? Regardless of what you're doing, even different DJs, but you're definitely on when you're DJing, because one, you're bouncing around a lot. Two, you're playing 45s, and you're getting through. How many are you getting through now? I think one stage 26, 27
Yeah, I do about
per
26,
hour.
20. Yeah, my like the plan is that I go through 60 in 2 hours, and
Yeah,
it depends on how the chat's going, how fast or slow you play them. And I use the chat to slow me down. I use it
right,
as a braking mechanism. Otherwise, I go through them too fast.
right. Well, tell us a little bit about what you've had going on this weekend. I mean, it's a bit of a bonkers weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been well. Again, just to reiterate what I said earlier, I was sat listening to Talk Sport earlier on because, contrary to what most people think, because I stream a lot and because I listen to a lot of music a lot of the time, I actually need talk radio or talk sport on because I just need voices. I don't really listen to what they're saying, but I need that noise, but I can't listen to music because I listen to it too intently. I
Yeah.
should listen to podcasts, but I'll start listening to people talking about music and I'm like, oh, I need to know this. And I'll be sat down proper, paying attention. Whereas I just need the background noise. Like today, I'm screwed after the weekend. I've done crazy gigs all weekend long. I'm knackered. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm on tonight. And you're like, ugh. But you do it. And then of course, as soon as you come live and you see all these amazing people in the chat, it instantly lifts you and it's fine. It's just that craziness. I mean, Thursday night, so big ups to the Allergies. Boca 45 retired. So if you looked on the ticket link, it was the Allergies and Boca, which made me chuckle. And it was actually the Allergies and me. They phoned me up and said, oh, can you come and do support us at the Trinity Centre in Bristol on Thursday, ADP? It was mental. It was so good. I reckon it was the best Sam Tweets gig that I've ever been at.
So what made it so good?
I think because I know seen the Allergies live quite a few times, and I know how powerful and how energetic their set is, and lots of people are there to have a good time. I discovered the Allergies via Craig Charles on Radio 6, so I knew that everybody that listens to them likes that kind of upbeat, happy, funky, soulful disco-y vibe. So the set was easy to do because it was full of stuff that I like to play, and I kind of did the set so it was pleasant when people started coming in, and I knew I'd crescendo before they went live and everyone would be going crazy. And then that's exactly what happened. Everyone was proper going nuts to the point that Moy and Adam were like, yeah, you were a bit too good tonight, which is as good as that's a pretty decent plaudit. But the place was bouncing when I finished. It was really good. And then it carried on. The energy was wicked. It was a proper epic. It was fun. It was
Yeah,
really
yeah. I
good.
mean, how was their set? I mean, because I think I saw a review that they've sort of tweaked their set recently for the new album that's just coming out.
Yeah, it's kind of in that midpoint between the two. I think because the new album is full of tunes they have now because you can buy them, but they hadn't quite done them live yet because they didn't want to overdo the new tunes because obviously everyone's got their favorite Allergies tune and they try and split it all into an hour and 30-minute show. So, but I think there'll be some tunes in there that will then pass on to future shows. So it's a little bit in between. But yeah, it's always good. They're great. It's a good fun live. It's never bad. It's always good. It's always upbeat and it's always kind of bouncy. I remember Matt Love used to relate to them as school hip hop or university hip hop because it was kind of attracting people into hip hop that like to dance around and just be fun. But there's nothing wrong with that. It works and it's great. And it's good
It's
music.
good music and it's good vibes and I mean, I haven't seen the live show for a little while now, but again, it's like Andy Cooper and just like, well,
Yeah.
how can you go wrong?
Yeah. It's like all the tick boxes are there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Marietta can sing.
And it's
The
what
guy
it's
can play
what
sax. Yeah, bing, bing, bing.
yeah.
And I want to say T2 Funk's in the chat, and he said Birkenhead. So I just got to do that.
And Mark Langstaff saw their DJ set at Paul Miller's 60th. They were amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was Thursday night. What about the rest of the weekend?
Yeah, Friday. It was quite funny because I had quite a few messages on Instagram because the Allergies had tagged me in some Instagram videos, which was cool. So people would start to follow me because they'd never seen me before on Twitch, or because obviously you go to a gig thinking it's a Sam Tweets gig, everyone will be there from Twitch, which has happened for Sucker Fest, and so you kind of know everyone and everyone knows you. Whereas this was a complete set of blank faces, all going, "Who's this guy? We never heard of him before," and messaging me on Instagram, "Oh, we love your show. Where can I see you live again?" And I felt like texting them back, "Well, I'm doing a wedding tonight. I can ask if you can go on the guest list for the wedding," because it's Friday night. I did a wedding at someone's local, and I'm like, that's the joy of my my twin DJ life, where 1 minute it's all about someone else's wedding, and then the next minute I'm being me on the stage playing tunes. So that's quite funny. And then Saturday night we did Between the Bridges, Waterloo in London. That was cool. It was good. Fade rocked up as he does with about 10 minutes left of the gig, and Mr. Thing came along. So I ended
Nice.
up chewing the fat with Mark for about 2 hours and missed most of Jaguar Skills show because we were too busy talking about records. Crafty and Jimmy absolutely slayed it. Sarah Love was brilliant. It wasn't as well attended as we'd hoped, but it was still cool to go somewhere on the Saturday night and be Sam Tweets, not Sam the wedding DJ. So yeah, it was good fun.
I think it's something that's happening everywhere. Things aren't as well attended as people expect them to be, just because people are waiting to the last minute to book things. They're waiting to see if something better comes along. People only going out maybe once a month, or once. We're lucky enough to be DJing out, so we can obviously get out. But have you noticed that? I mean, do you think hospitality's still struggling at the moment?
Massively. Coming from a point where everybody's been at home with Spotify to go, "Oh, I like that. I like that. I like that. Don't like that. Don't like that. Don't like that. I like that. I like that. Oh, that one's all right. Never heard that before." And then they come up to you and they go, "Don't like this song," and expect you just to swipe left and the song changes. And you're like, "Yeah, it doesn't really work like that." There was quite a bit at the start of coming back from lockdown where people would be quite aggressive towards you because you're like, "Well, I don't like this song." And like, yeah, I'm sure the dance floor full of people can disagree with you right now, but So I've started doing the when people come over, "Do you take requests?" I'm like, "I'll tell you what," I said, "if the song's good, I might play it. If it's bad, I'll politely tell you I haven't got it."
And do you get any good requests or not?
Yes, totally. Fade was there actually. We did a friend of Fade's 50th birthday in London. It was in a House Samantha, if you tuned in a club in London. They had all the kit there, and I was playing off Serato, which I do in real life, banging through some absolute soulful bangers. It was a wicked load of songs that she said that she liked. She was happy with me playing whatever I wanted, but pretty much every song she'd put on her list of songs that she liked, I liked, so they were going in. And this one girl was there. She asked me for 3 songs, and all 3 songs were A, in the same key as the song I was playing, and B, almost the same BPM and fitted in. So I was like, to be fair, she should have been a DJ. I was straight in because what she was asking for was completely worked fine.
Yeah.
And then you got like Aces just mentioned, "All right, have you got anything good? Have you got
Have you got
something
anything
I
good?
can dance to?" And you're like, oh,
Have
the
you got
slow
any
seconds.
have you got any other music? Have you got anything that's not shit? That's the sort of
Yeah. Or
T2 funk. Yeah.
yeah.
30 requests last week at bar gig. Cliff fucking Richard, congratulations, because it's my friend's birthday. No words. Who is
I had someone the
listening
other
to Cliff
day
Richard
say, "Oh,
in
can you play my song
2024? Who's
next?
listening to Cliff Richard?
Oh, can you play my song next? I'm going in a minute." And I was like, "I'll play it when I get to it," because it was okay request. And then they literally did go.
Right.
I
Yeah,
was
that's
like,
the
"Oh,
thing,
okay, we're not
because
going to get their song next," because they were actually going in a minute.
yeah. But if you're leaving, why would that be an encouragement to play your Let's talk about, I think, the last time we saw each other, which was Hamburg.
Yeah,
Cliff
Hamburg was
Richard.
wicked, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's good. And we booked it for next year. We're doing it again next year. I didn't get to interview you because I interviewed quite a lot of the other people who were there, but unfortunately you were a little bit unwell on the last day. And
That
then
was
we were at the
brilliant.
airport and I just did an interview. So tell me your experiences of the 45 Weekender in Hamburg.
It was proper great. The one great thing was it was like DJing over here 20 years ago. The places were rammed, the places were full of people, and everywhere you went, there was people there dancing, enjoying themselves. The vibe was like the UK was 20 odd years ago, which you don't get now. But what I did notice was everybody was our age. Did you see anyone under the age of 30 dancing in any of the places we were at?
Bit in the Washington bar, I think, when Chris Pop was on. I
Yeah.
think at that stage maybe, but yeah, it seems to be an older thing.
And that still go out, and the youngsters don't, do they?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because we were talking about, and Josie was talking about it as well, and you were, because there's no smoking ban in Hamburg. All the bars and everyone's like smoking everywhere. And it's like Tommy T said, when's the last time you were in a DJ bar, when everyone's sort of smoking? So that was, I don't know, I'm not sure if that's a good thing. It's interesting that they still didn't have that, and that was still part of it, which made it feel like it was back in the UK 20 years ago, which is what
Yeah.
you're saying, isn't it, as well?
I find that really hard because I don't smoke and I never have. So that I was like, when I finished my set, I was straight outside, and it wasn't because I didn't want to listen to the next DJ. Because if I'm on in between people, I want to go and listen to the guy before. Hopefully, take them from that guy to the person who's coming next. If I know kind of what they do, everyone's smoking inside. I'm like, yeah, I got to go outside. I need some air because it was it was killing me. It was horrid. I'll go back there next year to do it again because it was so great. And Double P is going to come next year too. But it was so good to do it, and the people were so full on, having fun. It was great.
I think for me as well, it was just the sort of welcome that we were given, because obviously, myself and Svalansky sort of came up with the original idea of a boat party, and then we had a couple of venues, and then Emu effectively said, right, we can make this a bigger thing, so they sort of took charge and did it. But, even from the barbecue for the DJs and 3 records each on the first night, what a great way to sort of welcome and connect with all these DJs who are there in the same city, all loving 45s.
Yeah, it
I
was
mean, there was
mad.
a lot of record nerdery going on, wasn't there?
It was full on nerd fest. It was enjoyable, and it was great to meet like Solansky, D1, Chris Pop, and then all the Dusty Donuts crew and NMX, who's just hysterical.
It's brilliant. I love him. Again, he's like he doesn't stream that much, but obviously from
He's
when
exactly
he's
the same in real life.
yeah, when he does the Dusty Donut shows, and when he's been on my show, and he's brilliant, and a good cook as well. I mean, his burgers were amazing.
They were fine. Yeah, Jim and Cockney. Maybe he should stick to cooking as well as spinning, because his burgers were really good.
The sort of central bit was the boat party. So how did you find that?
The biggest difference between the boat party here and the boat party in Hamburg was people actually attended the one in Hamburg. People were excited as they got on the boat. The energy was already there. You didn't have to create anything because everyone was there to have a good time and get off the boat. You couldn't do that over here because you'd be spending all your time. You'd be knackered by the time you get on the boat because you spend all your time trying to get people to get on it. Whereas, the guys have done the hard work already, and it's well attended, and it was wicked, and everyone smokes it. Ironically, so in the bars, people smoke in tiny, low ceiling bars. We're on a boat in the middle of I presume it's a lake in the middle of Hamburg. We're on a boat, and people can only smoke at the back of the boat in the open, and yet it's an open top boat. So it was like, well, can't we have an open top bar? Yeah.
It was so much fun, and it was just because I wasn't sure how the whole playing vinyl on a boat was going to work, but obviously they had that sort of ingenious thing where the decks were sort of hanging by 4 corners, weren't they? And so the decks were like that, so you didn't move. Did you find
on
like
twin chain? So
yeah?
I remember Tommy T saying to me when we were in the Washington bar that he was still motion sickness from the boat.
Yeah, me too. I mean, me and Tommy T just hung out for the most of the night. We went and checked out all the venues, but yeah, the whole night we just didn't have our sea legs. It felt like we were sort of moving. It was a great party. Svalansky's in the chat here. We've got D1 in the chat as well. People who were there last year. So yeah, come along. If you want to make it, it's the 11th to the 13th. We've definitely got the boat party booked. We're waiting to find out. Plan is hopefully we're going to have 2 venues for the sort of Twitch and 45-day sort of family to sort of do in the evenings, and then everyone else will organise some other stuff. So it'll probably be more venues, I think, which will be interesting.
Yeah, it'd be good. If you're from over this neck of the water and you're concerned about going to Hamburg, absolutely don't worry. It's a wonderful place. It's a lovely city. It's got a great vibe. Everybody speaks English, which is really frustrating as someone who speaks English and doesn't really speak any other languages, that we are shit at learning everyone else's language and they're all great at learning ours. And we should learn more German.
We should. And I did start on Duolingo trying to learn and remember some German because I did it at school.
Yeah.
But obviously everything else gets in the way. I need to try and train myself for next year so I can actually speak some German when I was out there.
Tony's coming. Cool.
I didn't learn very much. Yeah, totally right. So 11th to the 13th of July. Double P only knows how to swear in German.
Shizer, double P.
Okay,
Shizer.
Mr. Salt saying you better get a passport. Yeah, you got plenty of time, but get a passport now. They're all really interesting venues, weren't they? You didn't make it to Le Funk, but you played in Summer Salon, which I thought was a pretty cool.
Yeah, Summer Salon with D1 was excellent. That was really good.
Yeah.
And the dancer was bouncing. That was cool. I love the Jazz Cafe too. As a proper Beatles fan, to play the Beatles on the Reeperbahn was something that I will always tick off my I should do this in my life list, and I did. Yeah.
But even the Washington Bar was cute. Le Funk was really cool. Even then, we had the first place, the Bernstein Bar, where we played on the Friday, and then we had Leslie brought his bike for the Sunday in the park.
Yeah, I was KO'd on the Sunday.
Yeah, you
I
were
I was
done,
rough.
but you managed to get all your sets done, which was cool. So Suckerfest, tell us a little bit about that. How was that? Because obviously we're doing a mental health raid train. We had Always Balling Club was there selling a special T-shirt and raising funds for Calm. So yeah, how was it?
Yeah, Suckerfest is ace. The best thing about Suckerfest is the people. Everybody there. There wasn't one person who didn't have a bad weekend. Everyone there is amazing. If you're ever, concerned about, breaking a festival duck or going to a festival because you're scared of all those people being there, or are you going to stick out like a sore thumb? Go to Suckerfest first. It's like a massive loving. It's like a Twitch chat. Most people there are from Twitch because it's not advertised as a festival unless you know it's happening. You don't know it's happening, if that makes sense. It was epic. It's so good. It's something that started out as Sucker Timmy's birthday party in someone's back garden. Suddenly the next men and Jim Sharp and Madame Electrify are all playing it in 3 years' time. Yeah, To The Beat, To The Money were there, all the way from Canada, as they're mentioning in the chat.
Yeah, it's been amazing. People from the other side of the world come. Obviously we talked about Josie being from Australia and being in Hamburg because she'd gone via that. But then obviously we had Tanner and Maculate came over for Shindig. And then obviously, like you said, To The Beat and To The Money were here. And I think they went down to Mr. Thing's record shop, and then they were in Brighton. And then, so it's just amazing, all these people being connected through Twitch. And it's just going to happen more and more now that we're traveling more than we used to be, I suppose.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
To The Beat saying everyone's like old friends because we've been talking for years already. It's exactly that, isn't it? It's like if you were to meet someone from university or someone that used to be friends with 20 years ago and they're good friends, you just carry on as normal. It's exactly the same thing, isn't it? You cut out all the, not the bullshit, but you've cut out all the sort of small talk, and then you go straight into the 45.
My wife tried to duck under the camera behind me. She did that miserably then. Yeah, it's cool. And like Soul Train that John Musto's just mentioned, Soul Train Live was the same. Everyone had the little Twitch badges on, so you knew who everybody was the first year. And you came this year as well, Criztoz.
Yeah, it was great.
It's a full-on loving with full of people that you watch on TV. It's excellent. It's really good.
Let's talk for the last sort of 10 minutes before we go and see Freddie J about the DJ program. So I think, before it came in, a lot of us, including myself, were like, oh, is this going to work? Are we going to be stuck? Are we going to be able to carry on, looking at other alternatives just in case? Thankfully, it seems to be going all right. Do you want to talk about the early part of the DJ program, and then we can talk about maybe the front page after that?
Twitch DJ program. It was going to happen at some point. You had to embrace it because the community we built is too strong to leave it behind. You can't ignore that at some point someone wants to earn some money because someone else is earning money. And if they can force, people to earn money for them when they're not actually having to do anything, they're going to make you do it. So I'm obviously trying to be politically correct in how I answer.
Yeah, no, cool. I mean, at the end of the day, we all know it's about money. Ultimately,
it's about the record labels earning money. Any bullshit they're telling you about the artists and get some money is absolute codswallop bollocks. They're not going to get 0.0001p like they get off Spotify streams. This is about the big three record labels going, these people earn money playing music that we own. They need to pay us for the privilege, which is generally what it is.
But I mean, I get it, because at the end of the day, it's a bit like Mixcloud, isn't it? On Mixcloud, if you put a mix up there, they get you to pay pro if you want to have more than 10 mixes, and some of that money goes to the artists. So, it's just that. And the only difference is you're not really making any money on Mixcloud. Exactly, the artist. But the issue is you're not really making any money on Mixcloud because it's not properly done, whereas on Twitch there is. And if it builds, which hopefully it will, then in theory that should create more followers, should create more subs, should create more bits, which hopefully will subsidize the difference in loss. So, you've been fortunate enough to be on the front page, I think twice on a Thursday.
Yeah, I did. There's two different front pages. There's the carousel that kind of runs underneath the front page, which does boost your figures quite, by a few hundred when you're on that. Or there's actually slap bang in the middle. You turn Twitch on, and there's someone looking back at you, like myself, when you're in that middle bit, which is crazy for your viewing figures. And people are like, "Oh, why didn't you raid out with the 3,000 people you had?" It's because the way it reads those viewing figures is people logging into Twitch are hitting your viewing figure, and they might click in, but they're actually showing as part of your viewers. So they might not even be listening to you. It might be on mute, or they're just scrolling through, and you're taking that hit of that person at that time. So when you raid out, you're genuinely raiding out with the people who are engaged in your stream. If someone's on before you, they're on the front page and they've got 4,000 people, and you only get 200 off the raid, that's the actual 200 people that were watching them stream. Everybody else is a casual bystander or someone in the crowd that happens to be there at that point, if that makes any sense to everyone.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a bit like, it's just views, isn't it? They're not actually viewing your stream because they're just seeing it come up on Twitch.
Yeah.
But it's also with the app, they've changed the app to make it more like sort of scrolling reels or TikTok or whatever, haven't they? So again, if people are flicking through and they come across you on there, then obviously that's that. But it's been a pretty positive thing then. So, off the back of those, did you see quite an increase in followers?
I think I posted the stats up because once I posted it once, it drops out the back of my mind. I just tell the truth. That's what or how I read things. I'm not always right. Yeah, but how I try to read through the bullshit and deliver it in a way that people can understand.
He does a much better job at explaining it. Yeah.
It's another tool is the way to see it. That the DJ program, you either grasp it by the balls and run with it, or you let it piss you off and it's not going to work. Really speaking, you've just got to go with it, look at it, and go, do you know what? This is what the table is like now. This is how the land lies. I'm going to go with that. I tested the water on Wednesday last week. I played Let's Dance by Bowie, which is the first time I played the song outside of the band list that's on the band, and I got my email saying you played Let's Dance by David Bowie. But to be fair, I actually highlighted the fact I was going to play it and then played it because I was practicing for the weekend's gigs. So I'm like, I'm sorry, Twitch, I'm playing this because this is in my set this weekend and I'm not going to skip it. Look at what the band list is. Take it on the chin. If you want to bucket, you're running the risk of getting. It's like having a yellow card in football, isn't it? If you keep tackling hard, at some point you're going to get a red because the referee's going to get pissed off with you. But if you work with them, you get to stay on the pitch. That makes as an
and just to be clear, at the moment, these aren't DMCA takedowns or anything like that. It's basically a Twitch warning to say you're in the DJ program, you've been identified as doing this. Because you're in the DJ program, we're not going to do anything, but don't play anything off the restricted artist list.
Just a little add in there. Ray Domingo played one the other day, and it said you played Jay-Z track, and what he did play was a Gangstar track. It might have been full clip that then Jay-Z had interpolated on one of the Jay-Z songs. So the algorithm picked it up as Jay-Z, but he was actually playing Guru. So there is a process to go to Twitch by putting out a ticket and saying, I didn't play that song. This is the one I played. Because at the minute, Twitch are looking for people to do that when they get it wrong, so they can make the list of songs that are allowed, not allowed, better for DJs to use. So if you get one of those warnings and you didn't play the song, go through the motions of sending it in, because you're going to save another DJ from maybe having a DMCA takedown sometime in the future. So it's worth doing it for the whole, is to go, no, I didn't play that song, I played this song, and they can update their records. And they're quite positive about us challenging some of the stuff when you didn't play that song.
Well, I think so, and it's working with us because it's still new, isn't it? And it's still only been less than 2 months, wasn't it? Beginning of August, wasn't it? So less than 2 months we're in, and it seems to be working for most people. I think most people I've spoken to, they've seen an increase in viewers. They've seen an increase in followers, which is a boost. which is great. And obviously, if that carries on, then people will carry on. So we'll see how
People
we are.
still watch people talking about playing a computer game that I will never understand. So for me, the DJ world is still the tip of the iceberg. There's still thousands of people out there want to come on and have an integrated chat room where they can chat about the songs the DJ's playing and hear stuff they've not heard before. That's how music got out there in the first place. It's still in its infancy, DJing online, I'm telling you.
Oh, definitely. I mean, we've been, like we said, about 4 years, 4 years and a bit. And it's only now less than 2 months that they're actually treating us as a proper category and as a proper sort of live thing. Last thing before we go to Freddie J, they're not necessarily 3 uplifting songs, but we always have guests bring on some 45s. And I said to you a couple of options, maybe 3 that you've been playing recently, or maybe 3 that are surprisingly on the allowed list that you weren't expecting or whatever. But what have you gone for? What's your theme?
While we talk about the allowed list, I don't think any of these 3 are on an allowed list because they don't actually exist yet. But if you play in stuff that doesn't exist yet, don't worry so much. At some point, you're going to have to play stuff that's on the allowed or not allowed list, but they're not going to be chasing you for stuff that they don't know about yet, as far as I know. They're only looking for people playing stuff that is on the disallowed list. But all 3 of these are coming out very soon and nobody will have heard them yet. I'm hoping this works now, so... I'm going to have to blast through these, aren't I? Because you want to read Freddie G now.
You can just play, I mean, you don't need to play the full thing. Just play like 30 seconds or so, and then we'll go to Freddie J. But do you want to try and see if it works?
Do I ever play the full of anything?
No.
I wonder if I can do something magical. Let's have a look. So I'm going to play 3 exclusives now. And you'll have to see me looking faceless.
I keep the mic hot, I heat it up, kid. I keep the mic hot, I heat it up. I keep the mic hot, I heat it up, kid. I keep the mic hot, I heat it up. I keep the mic hot, I heat it up, kid. I keep the mic hot, I heat it up. I keep the mic hot, I heat it up, kid. I keep the mic hot, I heat it up. Mic check, y'all, report to the floor. The crowd wanted more, so I came in the door. The great rock killer, paper mace to the pen. Now I was born and the light strikes again. Elements burst and gave birth to the verse. Get the pen from the nurse and hook the mic up first. When it absolutely, positively has to be there on time, I deliver a rhyme. Now here come hip hop, hop to this one. I got more kids, they hate to miss one. Style got jazz in the crowds out of control. Cause I got the mic and I got the soul.
So that was brand new from Mr. Doris and D-Funk. It's coming on Friday's Funky 45. I'm not sure when it's out. It's probably going to be a month or so away. I presume that's Eric B. and Rakim being flipped by Mr. Doris. So this is brand new from Battle Weapons. I don't even know what this is called. It just comes in the post with Kiss Kiss Arlo.
Are you ready to play the game?
Yes, sir.
Aldo, not Arlo.
The game. Well, now we're going to learn how to play the games by the rules. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
1 for the money, a 2 for the show, a 3 for the winners. Come on, let's go.
Owning, this be the zoning. Take 2 of these and call me in the morning. You should see the way the chain harness the charming. Fly 'em like a bird, like
Nelly Furtado.
pop your bottles, toast and scream cheers. Get your 2-step, cause it's the record of the year. Brought you ice creams, 2 for a pair. Officially announced
Thanks, Fade.
warfare, cause back in the day, my clouds was gray, and it seemed like my angels couldn't blow them away. But then I saw my first verse and copped that NSX. But I was still riding in them thin-ass jets, but now, man, my vision so clear out the window of the Lear, and I'm talking on my celly, all the shit that you should hear. Listen clearly now. Hello? Can you hear me now? Can I have it like that?
You got it like that.
Can I have it like that?
You got it like that, like that, like that, like that, like that.
That's very
So
nice
just-
as well.
So just to prove I don't know what it's called, I've written on the record it's called Have It. And I've written on the sleeve Drop It because it's drop it like it's hot. So I'm like, oh, I'm out. And one more coming on a brand new label called 108 Records. Jim Sharp on one side and this absolute banger on the other. I know Two of them only wants this one. Barty alliterating Gwen's bangers. There we go.
How many of y'all ever heard one of them?
So I'm going to flip this one and play the Gymsharp side too, because I've never played this on Twitch. So I don't hit it with my thumb.
So good, so good, so good, so good, so good. I was on my thighs, my thighs, my thighs, my thighs.
It proves it's live.
Coming out of my shirt and then my skirt came.
I looked over to the left.
I was looking so good I couldn't reject myself.
I looked over to the left.
I was feeling so good I had to touch
I
myself.
looked over to the left.
I was on my thighs, but a pecan
I looked
brown.
over to the left.
Shouts to Gymsharp on this one.
Coming out of my shirt and then my skirt came.
Tell you what I did last night. I came home, say around 2:45. Still so high, hypnotized in a trance from this body. So buttery brown and tantalizing. You would have thought I needed help from this feeling that I felt. So shook, I had to catch my.
So there we go.
Amazing. 3 amazing
Exclusives. I thought I'd do some
exclusives. Yeah, that's amazing. That's really good. Thank you, everyone who's been part of this show, been part of my journey. Thank you, everyone who's been part of the mental health raid train that we've been doing all weekend. We've raised some money, we've raised some awareness, we've had some discussions, and yeah, thanks everyone for taking part.
Thanks for tuning in.